And Johnny beat that hot take though. What are you bringing to the table, Johnny?
Right, I'm gonna take a big risk, and
that's what it's all about, Johnny. It's all about taking risks.
It's all about. But I think based on what we spoken about a lot in the off season and the start that the San Francisco 49ers have had, the injury issues they're now dealing with, I'm going to make a bold claim that they're not going to make the playoffs in 2024. Now, obviously, they have they're dealt with injuries. Their best player, Christian McCaffrey, is out. Their quarterback, Brock Purdy, is day to day. Obviously, coming off the back of a really good game actually against the Rams. I think the 49ers offensively did enough, and they have the tools around Purdy without the injury of McCaffrey. Obviously, Samuel's also out, but they're having to rely on Juwan Jennings. The defense is looking a little bit shaky, actually. I think, again, injuries are playing a big issue. Javon Hargrave on defensive line. I think he had a good game, actually, against the Rams, so he'll be a big miss. But there's, I think, concerns in the secondary, particularly with the weekend. I think the cornerbacks really struggled against the Rams. Elsewhere, you've got Fanga coming back from. I think did he play at the weekend? But he's obviously coming back from a long-term injury. They've got the Patriots next week. Now that should be, if Brock Purdy's fit and can play, a get-back win. But you then start to look at their divisional rivals. How the Rams are in a similar situation injury-wise, and we're able to pip the 49ers with what I think many of us would say is a weaker side. The Seahawks are looking like a bit of the real deal, particularly defensively. That'll be a struggle. And the Cardinals, who have hyped up, have started the season really well. They've outside of the Patriots game. I'm just getting up their fixture list. I'm struggling to see absolutely nailed on W's for the 49ers for the rest of the year. They've got to face the likes of the Chiefs, got to go to Lambeau Field. Again, obviously the Bills away as well, the divisional rivals. A lot of big teams the 49ers are going to have to come up against with a fairly depleted team. It's a big risk because we know how talented, and I think on the weekend when you play the Patriots, I'll probably be mincing my own words a little bit because they will be absolutely dominating New England. But yeah, I have some concerns. I think from the off season, particularly with the disputes with the like of Ayuk and Trev Williams and the like. There's just something I don't think that's right in San Francisco, and that's both off the field and on the field. I just think there are, they're a team that their division are starting to catch up, and yeah, I think there are just it's obviously so early in the season to say I don't want to go back on this, but yeah, it's something that I think a real concern for the 49ers, and I think there are at the moment a lot better football teams that they're going to come up against in the coming weeks.
And initially, when you put this in, I thought, oh, that's a pretty hot take, but I completely disagree. And then when I looked at the schedule, suddenly I was like, yeah, actually, there's there is not many games here where I go, that's a win. They're going to go there and win, or they're coming into San Francisco and winning. Like suddenly, the way they've played, the way some of these other teams have been playing that maybe we thought were not so good. You sort of looked at their schedule and they had a lot of teams where you went, oh, well, there's a few easy wins there. And then these teams have actually improved this year, and now we're in a situation where if these teams can continue that, and 49ers continue having the injury problems that they're having, where suddenly this team goes from, 13-win team to, maybe an 8, maybe an 8-win team, maybe 7-win team. I think 8, 8, 9, I sort of had, but with the NFC and how that's shaping up, maybe that's not good enough to get through there. I mean, this division felt like, the 49ers going to walk away with it. This division now feels incredibly open. You have 3 teams on 1 and 2. The Seahawks are 3-0. It's a bit more wide open, James, than it was initially thought at the start of the year. What's your take on this?
8 wins could still see you bottom of the division.
Yeah,
it's like when we had the, obviously, the Steelers, Browns, Bengals, Ravens a few years ago. All teams were like on 8 wins at one point, and it was just, it just never knew who was gonna get out of there. And this division is shaping up to be that way at the moment. And if the 49ers, based on what we've seen so far, did finish at the bottom of the division, it would be an enormous surprise. But after 3 weeks, you can very much see it happening. Now, there's a lot of time for him to get right, don't get me wrong, and this is a team that could quite easily go on an 8-game unbeaten streak and knock off all the teams in their division when they see them again with relative ease. But I don't think there's any gimmies. Seattle are looking, they're not setting the world on fire with what they're doing, but they look solid. Like, they look like a team that you don't want to go to Seattle and play.
I think this is the most exciting division in football at the minute.
Ooh, that could be a hot take.
I think that's definitely a fair point.
It's definitely up there, yeah.
I really want to see more. I think there is much more to come, even though the good starts from the Cardinals and the Seahawks. And that's what I think, if I was a 49ers fan, would I think I'd be a little bit concerned about that. I actually think Monhazen had a great game last week, but I think there's so much more to come from him. I think he's missed a few chances. Kyler Murray's been exceptional, and the defense is starting to look really good as well. They were able to frustrate the Lions in parts this weekend, and I just think that Sean McVay was my pick of the year for for coach of the year, and I think he, how Matt LaFleur's doing for Green Bay's, obviously different situations, but in terms of being able to deal with injuries and overcome them, he proved that obviously on Sunday, and I think he's for me a top 3 coach in the league. I wouldn't want to come up against this Rams team. We saw how obviously won on Sunday, but how ruthless, I wouldn't say, how solid they were last year, particularly when a lot of people had written them off because of their form the year before. And I think the 49ers are previous, I think, with when they lose players, what was it, 3-4 years ago, where they literally had everyone out injured, and they I'm not saying that Kyle Shanahan, I think he's a fantastic coach, and can certainly be able to deal with them, but I think with McCaffrey out, Kittle out, Samuel out, Purdy looking questionable, that's their offense there. That's them gone, and I don't think the defense has hit the levels that it has of previous years. I think there's definitely question marks in San Francisco at the moment.
I think it's interesting that you say as well, and I was having this conversation with somebody not long ago, it's going to be difficult for the 49ers going forward as well, because they've got so many big stars that they pay so much big money to. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, a couple of others. And then obviously you've got Brock Purdy, who's still on his rookie deal, but is going to need paying at some point. And is it going to be difficult for them to build their team out consistently, like the way that the Chiefs or the Patriots used to? Well. Fred Warner's on a massive deal. Yeah. And, are they going to be able to keep these players? Are they going to be able to sign, the complementary pieces around them? Are they going to need to just be going to lesser knowns and rookies and free agents and everything to plug the gaps? And I don't know, it just doesn't feel like an overly sustainable model for the 49ers. I don't know if they should be worried from this season going into next how it carries on.
I think they have probably the Chiefs and probably the Eagles have probably had the window of opportunity open for the longest in terms of being able to go on and win championships. The thing that the 49ers haven't been able to solve is their quarterback room. But with obviously Brock Purdy, that's a big lifeline in terms of you're not paying someone a lot of money at all. You've been able to build around him. You've got a great roster. But yeah, the next couple of years, if he perhaps this is a good thing that obviously he played quite well against the Rams, even though they lost. But if he has a bit of a down year, then maybe his stock goes down. I mean, it's going to be crazy. I think when that comes around, we're talking about in the NFL at the moment, where if you have a player who you see who is possibly, not necessarily elite, but is good enough to be your long term, or someone you want to keep around, you're going to have to make him the highest paid player in NFL history.
That would be crazy to do that to Brock Purdy, though. It really would.
Crazier things have happened in the NFL.
Yeah, definitely so. Yeah,
and it all feels like it's all creeping up more and more as the seasons go by. James, Johnny, thank you. This is about all the time we have had for this evening. Thank you. Yeah, thank you both again for joining me tonight. Thank you guys for watching or for listening. Make sure you check out the rest of our shows in the week. We've got the college show coming up. And we also have the other shows that we've got for the rest of the week. So make sure you keep an eye on that. We obviously are creeping ever closer to the London games. That are really just around the corner. Gosh, they do come around quick. And obviously the 3 London games that we have, we'll be doing a lot more content during around that time. We'll also be attending all the games, whether it be myself or other people within the podcast and media days as well. So make sure you say hello and keep an eye on our content for more stuff that's coming out. Make sure you share our YouTube and our socials to everyone who likes NFL, whether they're new, old, or want to get into it or are very established. So until then, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all again next week.